Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. It happens every year, or 20 for the Browns. It's the biggest sports day of the year, the NFL Draft. Oh, never mind, that was before Hugh Jackson was fired. Today's draft day is pretty much no different than any other day of the year. We now know how the other half lives on draft day. It's not really a big deal, unless, of course, John Dorsey goes crazy tonight and finds a way to get Nick Bosa in the draft or makes a trade for Josh Rosen. In any of the recent 20 years, I wouldn't use the remote to change from draft coverage, but now I've got Columbus Blue Jackets playoff hockey, NBA baskets without LeBron James, and the Indians in a 4-game series against the Houston Astros, with two guys who hate each other pitching tonight, Trevor Bauer versus Garrett Cole. What a night. We've got a big night here. Dennis Manoloff is here. So is Doug Lesmerises. More Sports and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com. Exclusively in this studio, we've got Dennis Manoloff. Exclusively somewhere in parts unknown, we've got Doug Lesmerises. That's from the old wrestling days when they wouldn't announce the city they were from. How are you, D-Man?
I'm doing great, Les. Quite a sports night coming up.
You name it, they got it.
Yeah, we're on the cusp of it here. We have Blue Jackets, Bruins, Indians, Astros, as you pointed out in your opener. Oh, by the way, the draft, you know.
You like it this way, that it's by the way?
It's great. Yeah, it is. I don't know how I filled all that time that I normally would have pouring through mock drafts and studying every rumor. Right. Now you can just, and somehow, some way, John Dorsey is going to surprise us again. Well, he will have another gift under the Christmas tree that we didn't expect.
That we'll be talking about tomorrow, no question about that. Doug Lesmerises will join us in a couple of minutes. Dennis Manoloff is here. Do you expect any? You got 2 hours to go before the first one is picked. Other than the surety that Roger Goodell is going to get booed upon his appearance, do you have anything else that is it more sure that he'll get booed or that John Dorsey will trade up?
More sure. It's more sure that Goodell will get booed. That's a tradition. Although it is it's in Nashville, though.
A tradition like no other.
Okay, but in Nashville, they're supposed to be more polite.
Well.
But I'm sure Goodell will hear about it. He cares. He makes a bazillion dollars a year.
$44 million.
We'll talk to Doug about it with the Ohio State prospects, but I think it's pretty obvious that Bosa and Haskins are going to go very high. Yeah. It's just a matter of where.
How does Haskins, supposedly, I'm listening to all the rumors going around today, and they're talking about Haskins moving up already in the eyes of some of the teams. Why? What has happened in recent days or weeks that would have that happen? Why is he different than he would have been 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, I used to wonder that too, Les, but with all the data that's collected and they pour through a bunch of things and they analyze charts and they maybe review film or review DVR or whatever it's called now, the tapes of the player. Maybe they pick something up that they didn't otherwise see while he was playing or even in the early off-season portion.
Well, what you see with Haskins is results. I mean, this guy put up numbers unlike anybody else, and Doug pointed it out this week. And we'll talk to him when we get him online. That the Big Ten hasn't had a first-round draft pick quarterback in something like 30 years.
Collins?
That's unbelievable.
It is. And you could say, well, it's the weather and they're run-oriented teams. Well, baloney. I still can't believe that the Big Ten, for all of its prowess, has not produced more quarterbacks than it has. And look at Ohio State. I mean, what the case is made in a simple case that Haskins is the best QB prospect for the NFL out of Ohio State since Schleister.
Although there's only one. Schleister had 4 years. Well, I don't know how much time he did.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. But you only had 1 year with Haskins, so you don't know what you'd have gotten on the full. My guess is you'd have had astronomical numbers if he had full 4 years.
Sure, I'm a big Haskins guy, and I've asked Doug on the WTAM radio show, why would you not want Haskins over Kyler Murray? I mean, what makes Kyler Murray so much better than Dwayne Haskins?
What's the answer?
Well, I mean, the knocks on Haskins are primarily a short-range thrower.
Okay.
He's been asked to throw a lot short.
He's not an athlete.
His footwork is not particularly great, to which I say he manipulates the pocket well enough,
right,
and his big arm can compensate for the lack of footwork. As far as the intermediate short stuff, being a master of that, okay, well, he's doing what he's told largely. We know he makes smart decisions. He's a very, very bright guy when it comes to the greaser board and everything else. So,
yeah, well, the other thing is he wasn't a typical quarterback at Ohio State in recent years because he didn't move around. He wasn't like any of the Florida quarterbacks that were out there. So you wonder, in his case, how did the offense change for him, or did he change the offense at Ohio State?
True, and when I think about him as a pocket passer, that's why I project him to do very good things in the NFL. I don't know what his NFL ceiling is, but if I'm an NFL GM, I want to see him on my team because I think he has a lot of potential.
All right, we're going to find out what Doug Maurice has to say, see what he's thinking as we're going to check with him what he thinks about my theory of take the best Buckeye available. You agree with that?
There's some good ones
There's
out
some
there
good ones
this
out
year,
there.
for
Find
sure.
out other than Bosa.
And every year, pretty much every year,
Sure.
the Buckeyes under Urban Meyer have cranked them out.
All right, other than Bosa, who else are they going to take, and how high will Haskins go and some of the other players? Browns might be looking at some Ohio State people. That'll be something new, except for last year. We'll find out if John Dorsey's going to move up. We'll find out that and anything else that's on your mind. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/More Sports and Less Levine with new content posted each and every day. Dennis Manoloff here in studio. Doug Maurice in parts unknown. We'll get to him when we get back. More Sports and Less Levine exclusively on cleveland.com.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Let's check out birthdays for today, April 25th. In 1947, Phil Dupp was born on that date. Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, Joe Buck, Tim Duncan, seen on the left, D'Angelo Williams, and Lamar Miller, all born on April 25th. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You see Dennis Manoloff. You're about to see, magically, Doug Maurice, and find out as we get close to less than 2 hours away from the draft. There you are. Hello, Doug. How are you?
What's up, Les? What's up, D-Man?
How are you, Doug?
All right, so you guys rehearsed this already on WTAM, so why don't we just run the tape, right?
It's listen, it was awesome stuff. I said that NFL, this is why Doug's at home, because NFL GMs need to call him to get every morsel
Right.
about every Buckeye who's in this draft because he is an encyclopedia.
And there are a lot of them, Doug. A lot of Buckeyes tonight.
Yeah, they should have probably 8 to 10 guys picked overall. They'll have 2 first-rounders at least tonight. I don't think they'll have a 3rd first-rounder. I don't think Paris Campbell gets up there. But when Nick Bosa and Dwayne Haskins get picked in the first round tonight, that will bring the total of first-round draft picks in the 7-year Urban Meyer era to a close, and it will be at 14.
Wow.
14 first-round draft picks with Haskins and Bosa in 7 years. Urban Meyer had 9 losses in 7 years. He's going to have 14 first round.
Yeah. You know, you wrote something last week, and I mean, when you think about it, you know that it's true, but it's hard to believe at first blush, and that is the amount of Big Ten quarterbacks taken. Kerry Collins, the last one. That's unbelievable. I mean, I couldn't find another one, obviously. You were right, but that's an incredible stat.
It's weird, like applicable, but then you can also find a couple of reasons for it. And again, the whole point, some people have responded to that. Again, the stat is, in the last 23 years, no first-round quarterback from the Big Ten. Kerry Collins from Penn State, the last in 1995. In that period, between 96 and 2018, 61 quarterbacks taken in the first round. No Big Ten guys. So, yes, there's weather. Yes, there's defense involved there. Part of it, I think, is that Ohio State is absolutely the number 1 draft pick producer in the Big Ten, and they have not used traditional NFL quarterbacks. We've seen Terrell Pryor and Braxton Miller, Barrett and Troy Smith be great college quarterbacks, but not NFL guys. So it's fluky on one hand, but I also think the NFL's misdiagnosed some big quarterbacks because, of course, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, Drew Brees, C.J. Beathard, all from the Big Ten, started in the NFL.
Right.
So they have guys there. Just no one picked them in the first round.
I think Tom Brady kind of skews the whole thing off because you don't think of him as being different than the norm.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's such a part of NFL history now that Tom Brady went in the 6th round. You take it for granted. But again, and nobody should have evaluated Tom Brady as a first-round pick when he came out. But
right.
Drew Brees, I think, is the best example. He was the first pick in the 2nd round. Some people project him as a first-round pick. He didn't go there. But again, I think if Drew Brees had been chucking the ball around like that at a school in Texas, and he's from Texas, then he would have been picked. I just think sometimes it is a little bit harder in a league that plays defense for a quarterback to be worthy of a first-round pick in the NFL.
D-Man, jump in at any time. What do you have?
Yeah, Doug, beyond Haskins and Bosa and Haskins, which Buckeye player do you project to have a long and successful NFL career in this draft class?
It's an interesting point today that I think could have a Ted Ginn Jr. like career, which is Ted Ginn Jr. is one of only 6 first-rounders from the 2007 NFL draft to still be around in the league. But he was never dominant, never had 1,000-yard season. Really good, never a number 1 guy. I think Paris could be around for a long time. I'm sure he's a franchise-changing player. I think Michael Jordan, who is a lineman that's going to be picked in the 3rd or 4th round, could start for a decade. That's how linemen work, right? He's got little rounds. You lock him in and you play. He's a guy who definitely has that profile. I don't think he'll go in the 2nd round. I think he'll go in the 3rd or 4th tomorrow. But I think Michael Jordan's going to be a long-time NFL guard or center.
Doug, you brought up Paris Campbell, and the first time I saw him with that running style, it was almost an O.J. Simpson style of run, the way he I'm not sure how the scouts would describe it, but it's a different way of running and very hard to bring that guy down the way he moves his body around. So I think Paris Campbell, although I know there's questions about his catching the football, I think he'd be a tremendous addition for this Cleveland Browns team.
He's a slot guy. I'm going to put him on the outside and throw a lot of balls down the field. I think use him best, getting him the ball on short routes in baits. Jarvis Landry's going to play a lot of slot for the Browns. I don't know. They have so many defensive needs where I think they need to add some depth there. I just don't think I think in a world where they're still desperate receivers, you can make a case for that. But I think he's going to go in the 2nd round. The team has to use him correctly. He is the first 2-pound receiver to run 4.31 or faster at the combine in 10 years. Not many guys inside that fast. he in a league of rare athletes, he is a rare athlete. So he is that kind of guy that you don't see very much. But I wonder at this point, I just don't know that he's where the Browns need it in the second round.
All right, here's the zillion-dollar question. John Dorsey gets itchy fingers when the phone rings. Is he moving up? Is he trying to move up? Is he just blowing smoke out there? What's he doing right now? Probably.
I hope he's not moving up. And I wrote this at the Combine. John Dorsey is at a world where he's trying to win right now. A Super Bowl window is 100% open for the Browns, but they also want to sustain this. And to sustain this, you're going to have to hit on some middle-round picks that can be starters and replace the guys that in a couple of years you're not going to be able to afford. So I don't think they need to trade up into the first round. Listen, you have 3 huge first-rounders the last 2 years in the draft. They're going to be expensive down the line. You need more Joe Schobert, Ard Averys, and Antonio Callaway, and Richard Higgins, and guys in the middle rounds for Kirksey that can be good long-term players here. I don't want to see them give up a bevy of second, third, and fourth round picks to move up to get 1 first rounder, especially a guy like Jeffrey Simmons who can help you this year. I think people have to understand where they are. People love getting these elite guys at the top of the round the last 2 years, but they did that by losing and by trading down.
Right. The Simmons thing.
They're not trading up for this stuff.
No, the Simmons thing makes no sense to me at all. They're in no position to have a redshirt guy at this point. People forget they were still 7-8-1 last year. It's not like they're coming off 15-1. And this guy may be good, although you don't know after the knee problem. But the Cleveland Browns have to win, and they have to win now. And by exactly what you're saying, they can't afford to do that.
No, and it's just, you can get a safety that can be a backup this year and start next year in the second or third round. You can get a corner that could be a backup this year and start next year. You can get a linebacker that can be a backup this year and start next year. I don't think they have to come out. This is the part of being a team with a little depth of the roster. I don't think they get a starter out of this draft, like Austin Corbett. But they need guys who can be depth, because you're going to have some injuries, and they need some depth on defense, guys that then set up when Christian Kirksey and Marius Randall and Terrence Bishop, some of these guys, Joe Schobert, when they start making more money, you're going to have to replace them, and have to replace them with young, relatively cheap players in the middle rounds of the draft.
D-Man, for a team that used to need 3 new starters from an NFL draft, Doug's now talking about maybe not getting 1, and he's absolutely right.
Yeah, as usual, Doug's points are spot on. I really hadn't even thought of it that way, that you need depth guys and you need starters down the road. You can't load up your team with players who are eventually going to cost you so much that they're going to leave, and you won't be able to afford them all. So I get that. I still wonder, though, if Dorsey's going to get antsy. Maybe Elliot Wolf and the guys are going to force him to, keep his hands on the table or something and not call anybody. But Doug's reasoning makes a lot of sense.
That's what they do.
I do want to circle back, Doug, to Nick Bosa. Social media issues for Nick Bosa. You know him as well as anyone. I'll do something I did with you on the radio the other day. If a general manager calls you and says, Doug, tell us about this Nick Bosa guy. What kind of a guy is he? What is his character? Is this controversy reflective of who he is, or is it just an aberration? What do you say?
So he's from a football family. This guy has been programmed to be an NFL player, I don't know if since he was born, but very early. The Bosa family understands the NFL. The dad was a first-round pick. The uncle was a first-round pick. Nick and Joey have been football prodigies for a long time. They understand this whole process and how what you're referencing is that Nick Bosa, over his career at Ohio State, tweeted some things out, like some post media. He is a conservative. He supports Trump. He has some things. He said some things. He had negative posts about Colin Kaepernick, that kind of stuff. But he is not a super overly, I don't think, political guy in his day-to-day life. And so, I understand that sports and politics have overlapped a lot recently. I think if an athlete wants to enter that realm and use their platform, great. Nick Bosa just tweeted stuff. He's deleted those tweets. in the last couple of years, and I knew about all those tweets. He wrote about it during his college career because I was monitoring it to see if I felt like it had an effect on the team. And he had a lot of teammates with different political views, and they got on that defensive line. They rushed the passer together. And if I ever thought it was an issue for the team, I would have written about it. And I never thought it was. I think it's going to be an issue for a team in the NFL. And there has to be room in the NFL for people who support Donald Trump. The guy's president. You know, so like I think some of this has been overblown to a big degree.
Yeah, but what I think some people are concerned with is not that he has those political views, but the fact that he backed off on them. If you're going to come out there, why would you back off?
I disagree.
Okay.
College kids tweet stuff, and not everybody wants to talk about politics 24 hours a day.
Fair.
If you want to, great. But are we now at a point where if you have a political opinion as an athlete, now you have to like stand behind it? What is your? He tweeted some stuff because he likes the president, and if he wants to delete it now because he thinks people will be mad, fine. I don't care.
Yeah, okay.
Doug, I know this has been a draft-themed thing, but I wanted to ask you this. Do you believe that Urban Meyer will get antsy at the end of this upcoming football season and not want to do whatever it is he's doing and get back on the sidelines?
No. The health issue is very serious. I think he feels good now, and part of the reason he feels good now is because he's not coaching. So you can't retire because you need to get your health and your lifestyle in order. And then 3 months later, when you've basically been on vacation, be like, you know what? I'm ready to coach again. Nah.
He did that
He
once.
has a job at the athletic department at Ohio State that I think he feels fulfilled by. He's going to TV for Fox in the fall. I do not think he is an itchy back on the sideline guy. He's enjoying his grandchildren, enjoying his kids. He's enjoying watching his son play baseball, and I think this is what he needed. And I think I'm not ruling it out down the line, but I think he understands that the reason he feels so good right now is because he got away, and he should not and will not be afraid to get.
All right, Doug, stick with us. We're going to come back to you. We're going to talk NFL draft getting underway at 8 o'clock tonight, and not too far away as the hours roll on. Spend Kentucky Derby Day next Saturday at Northfield Park. You could watch and wager on the top thoroughbreds as they compete in the $2 million Run for the Roses. It's the 9th annual Northfield Park Food Truck Festival. Kicks off at noon, goes till 7 o'clock. And enjoy the live music from 1 until 10 p.m. Enter your Kentucky Derby hat contest. You could win cash and other prizes. All from Northfield Park, where it's free admission, free parking every day. We'll come back in a moment. Dennis Manoloff is with us in studio. Doug Maurice is with us, and so are you, exclusively on cleveland.com.
When my dad started Nature Stone right here in Northeast Ohio, he created a solution for age-old concrete problems. Unevenness, cracking, pitting, and more. Nature Stone solves all of these problems in garages, basements, and outdoor spaces. Nature Stone is beautiful, environmentally friendly, and always affordable. Plus, Nature Stone is backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty.
Get Nature Stone installed in your home by the end of April and get up to half off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Time for a How Come Quickie. Hey, Dennis, how come we sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game when we're already there? Right? If you're there, you don't have to tell somebody to take you there.
Great point.
216-575-0403. You can email us during the show at Real Les Levine at gmail.com. Doug Lesmerises is with us, so is the D-Man Dennis Manoloff. Doug, little activity from Odell Beckham ticked off some people. Others said, no, what's the big deal? It's voluntary practices that he missed, and they stressed the word voluntary. What's your take on that?
I think the Browns have one 1,300-yard receiving season in the history of the Browns by Josh Gordon a couple of years ago. Odell Beckham has 3 of those on his own. I'll see him for the opener. I'm not going to freak out about anything that happens between now and the first game against Tennessee, as long as he's healthy.
What if
100%?
Just like with LeBron, the things that make them great also make them maybe hard to deal with sometimes. You cannot take out that part of their personality, or they wouldn't be who they are. And what Odell Beckham is a receiver unlike any we have seen ever in Cleveland. I'm not worried.
100% agree with Doug.
Well, what if you're Baker
Much
Mayfield?
ado about nothing.
If you're Baker Mayfield, do you feel that you're being taken advantage of here a little bit? And
how so?
You'd like to get your pass patterns down, your blocking. You're going 11 and 11 in these drills.
I'm not worried, like Doug says, as long as it's voluntary. When it becomes mandatory, if he's not there, then it's a problem. Voluntary, no. And the good news about Beckham is his catch radius is so wide. All Mayfield has to do is drop back and throw to a giant tire, and he'll be able to snatch it wherever he throws it. So I think their chemistry will come very quickly.
You don't think in an ideal world that they'd like to get these two guys together here on a football field?
Well, ideally, yes. But as Doug said, it takes all kinds. There are different types of guys. There are the eager beaver types, even maybe stars who are eager beavers, who have to be there at all times and do everything. And there are other stars who say, okay, I've got my own plan. And Beckham responded to a member of the media here saying, hey, where are you? He says, I'm working out. So Beckham's version of a voluntary workout is on his own.
All right, I don't want to go into this too deep, Doug, and Dennis. But if you've had the reputation that you're a problem in the clubhouse and all that other stuff, wouldn't you be able to undo that rather quickly by just showing up, or doesn't it matter?
By catch and touchdown. I don't know. The people who think Odell Beckham is the problem, I'm not sure. I mean, we all know what the stuff that is out there. You know who's been to a lot of voluntary minicamps in the history of the Browns?
Who's that?
A lot of lousy receivers. So we can talk about – I'm never changing my answer on this. A guy like Urban Meyer at Ohio State has always said that he treats the great players differently. A lot of great baseball managers say – I remember I covered baseball many moons ago, and John Smoltz and Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine and those pitchers for the Braves, they could golf 4 days a week. Nobody cared when they showed up at the clubhouse, as long as every 5th day they went out there and won a game on the mound.
Well, you had the book. You had the book Jordan Rules, which explained that to everybody. That different rules for Jordan than anybody else in the league, let alone on the team, right?
Odell Rules, baby. I'll write the Odell Rules. Let's do it. We'll write that right after we write the Super Bowl book.
You got it. All right, Doug. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. I know you got a busy night ahead. And when you see the Blue Jackets, tell them we're rooting for them.
I will. There's a lot of parallels between the Browns and the Blue Jackets. So if they somehow pull this thing off and win a title, good omen for the Browns.
Excellent. Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks for joining us. Doug Lesmerises, cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. Terrific job by him.
The Doug Lesmerises. He's that good.
Thank you, Doug. Have a good night.
He's tremendous. We're fortunate to have him in this town.
216-575-0403. If you'd like to get in on the action, you can certainly do that. We have a Facebook question of the day, and that question of the day is upcoming. There you go. Would you rather have that 17th pick in the draft back in exchange for Odell Beckham Jr.? What a D-man, I think I know your answer.
No.
I certainly know mine, but
heck no.
Look at some of the responses that we got. You got Angelo Costanzo, not even close. OBJ all day, every day. Then you have Carmen Tolino. Draft picks don't always work out. This guy's already proven.
Agreed.
Glenn Berger. Got to write him shorter than that. I'd have much rather have Odell Beckham. He is a proven big-time all-pro receiver, although a bit injury-prone. He really could thrive with Baker Mayfield at quarterback. So there you have it. It's unanimous and then some.
I'm sure the more that came in, they would all be echoing the same. That's the thing. You realize Beckham versus the 17th overall. Now, there was the mega deal. The NFL took the two trades that Dorsey and Gettleman made, put them together. And, yeah, it was not cheap for the Browns by any means. They give up Zeitler. They give up Peppers. They give up the 17th overall. They give up another pick somewhere in there.
Everybody will forget that in about 4 months.
But if you're Dorsey, as Doug said, Super Bowl window is officially open.
Right.
And you say somebody can snicker, say, well, they're coming off 7-8-1. His point is, you can do it. You can move from 7-8-1 to Super Bowl contender. So the window is open. What does Dorsey do? He adds OBJ and he adds Vernon from the Giants. Two positions of need and one superstar at that position, another one who's pretty darn good.
216-575-0403. We have a lot of ways you can find us and follow us. You can also go to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. Call anytime at 216-200-6650. Call anytime, 24 hours a day. Leave a message, and we'll use the best message in a future show right here on More Sports and Less Levine on cleveland.com. We'll take a break. We'll come on back. Indians and Astros, a bunch of storylines on that one, right? Including Dr. Smooth, as named by the D-man, Dennis Manoloff. We'll come back in a moment. More Sports and Less Levine exclusively on cleveland.com.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family cool this summer,
let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at 440-449-HEAT.
All right, time for this date in history, sports history. Back in April 25th, 1997, Matt Williams hits 3 home runs. David Justice hits 2 more. Indians and Milwaukee Brewers combined to tie a major league record of home runs. That's 11 in a game. The Indians hit 8 and won the game by a score of 11-4. You know, a lot of people forget he only had 1 year of Matt Williams. He was terrific.
Yeah, he could pick it like a few others. And, he had pop, power, very intense guy.
Right.
No question.
And people also forget that we were talking about Milwaukee. This is, I don't know if must have been before interleague play, but Milwaukee was in the same division as the Indians that year.
Yes, for the longest time, yeah.
Yeah, 216-575-0403. All right, you got the Indians and the Astros. Your man, Dr. Smooth, you named Brantley that, and it stuck. And the T-shirts were out. Did you get a royalty on that, by the way?
No.
No, apparently not. You got Garrett Cole and Trevor Bauer tonight.
Yeah, Christmas card buddies.
All right, so back up and for those the fans who don't know what we're talking about, give a brief explanation.
Well, Bauer and Cole are not best of friends by any means. They were UCLA teammates and became rivals. And since then, I wouldn't say arch enemies, but there's no love lost between them, okay? And now Cole's on the Astros and Bauer's on the Indians. Bauer was tweaking the Astros last year about spin rates. Or was it 2 years ago? I think it was last year.
Yeah, I think
and
last
so
year.
The Astros players, I think the bigger beef is with Bregman and Bauer. Although Bauer would claim that he and Bregman are fine. I don't know.
All right, so here's Bauer. This is last year. He says if there was only one real quick way to increase spin rate, like what if you could trade for a player knowing that you could bump his spin rate a couple hundred RPMs overnight? Imagine the steals you could get on the trade if that only existed. What does that mean?
Well, he's looking at the spin rates of the Astros staff at the start of last year and comparing them to their previous year, or specifically, I would imagine Verlander and Cole are the two that he's talking about. They come from another place. They join the Astros, and all of a sudden their spin rates go up, and there's that kind of thing. So the Astros take offense to that, and Bregman in particular was a guy who seemed to have fun poking at Bauer. Now, I know during Bauer's charity campaign last year, one of the charities he gave to was Bregman's favorite charity, but there's no question the Astros will be highly motivated tonight to play Trevor Bauer's Indians.
Where does it fit in with the problem last year with the stealing of the signs in the playoffs by the Houston people, and the Indians, of course, turned them in and were correct?
Yeah, well, there you go. That's another one, because what happened to the Astros after that spy was removed, remember?
Right. Sure.
They were rolling. They rolled through the Indians, and they handled the Red Sox. I want to say they were up 2-0 in the series.
Yes.
And then MLB steps in because the Red Sox either warned the Indians about it, so they knew it already, or they took a cue from the Indians. In any event,
I think that's the way it
after the
happened.
second game, the Astros guy gets taken out of there, and guess what? The Red Sox rolled the Astros the remainder of the ALCS.
Tell me what good it would do with all the videotape and everything else.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
one.
but with all the videotaping and all that stuff, what is a spy? What is a Houston Astros spy in the Indians' dugout or in the camera bay? What is he going to find out that they don't know already?
Well, I think it's real time. I think, the alleged spying, real time. How quickly can you get it without, you don't rely on the television. You don't rely on the potential delay there. You want to have it as soon as you possibly can to relay it to your team of what's happening. And, the Astros, it's no secret, very sophisticated team, very much on the cutting edge of the 21st century analytics revolution. So they've prided themselves in being, extremely ahead of the curve.
Right.
Well, this is beyond ahead of the curve in the MLB opinion. And so they got this guy out of it. I remember, I think it was it Dre Knott that said the guy was standing right next to him.
Yeah.
When he was he's like, what are you doing here? I'm just here to take in the sights or something like that.
Cleveland,
So,
I love it.
yeah.
All right, so
and Brantley's cleanup, by the way, tonight.
getting back to Brantley, and he's batting fourth tonight against the Indians. I don't think he's batted fourth all season, but that's a different story for a different day. He's a classy guy. If the Astros want to get involved in whatever they're going to get involved with, the taunting and that stuff, I can't imagine that Brantley would join in.
No, and he wouldn't. He's above that stuff. Now, he's a teammate. He's a good teammate.
Yeah.
So if there were to be a brawl, he'd be in there fighting for his guys. But he's not going to be one of those. He's not going to be walking around the clubhouse saying, "Oh, let's go get Bauer," or any of that. He's not going to be pointing his fingers out at Bauer if Bauer buzzes him inside. Now, if he goes to the head, that's a different story. But no, Brantley's too classy to get involved in that stuff.
How about as they get ready to play the games and play the series? Does the Major League Baseball inform the umpiring crew that there might be some bad blood, or they just let it go?
No, they do. That's on the. From what I understand, I haven't been in the room at the start of the series, but from what I've learned over the years, the umpires, they get a dossier, for lack of a better term, but they get an update on certain, the teams, how the teams are playing, which player might have been ejected recently. Was it because of an incident? But yeah, they're well aware of teams that dislike each other. I mean, as you know, the easy one is the Red Sox Yankees.
Yeah.
Umpires know when they're umpiring a Yankees Red Sox game. They don't have to be told anything, but they know they have to be on high alert.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Sokolowski's University Inn, the place to go. I'm sure they tell the umpires when they come into town.
Yes.
This is a great place to go on Friday for lunch. Excuse me, 11 to 3, Monday through Friday. Friday and Saturdays for lunch. Established in 1923 by Mike and Bernie's grandparents. Started it all, makes them Cleveland's oldest family-owned and operated restaurant. Winner of the James Beard Foundation Award, only 5 in the country get that each and every year. We're coming back in a moment. Dennis Manoloff, thanks to Doug Maurice, who joined us earlier. More sports and Les Levine exclusively on cleveland.com.
The concrete in your garage is uneven, cracked, pitted, and just plain ugly. Transform your garage into a welcoming entryway with Naturestone flooring. Naturestone corrects uneven concrete so you don't have to worry about tripping or slipping. Plus, Naturestone is backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty.
Get Naturestone installed in your home by the end of April and get up to half off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Naturestone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line, a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
On Thursday nights, we take a look at this date in Les Levine history, and then we take a look at the week in review. This is April 25th, 1961. Les's neighbor, Mrs. Rosner, sets the Chavez-Levine record for capturing 11 wiffle balls in foul territory. The game was postponed because they ran out of balls, and it would have been too dark to get anybody back from the store in time to continue play. Now we move back to the 22nd. Before a game at University School, Les asked the Brush High bat boy to ask the coach where they kept the left-handed hitting bats. Then we go earlier in 1951, believe it or not. Les gave a Mickey Mantle rookie card to a friend of his because he never heard of the guy Mickey Mantle. Besides, it was a rookie card. They'd always make more if the guy turned out to be any good. And finally, this week in review, Les asked the Brush High bat boy, the same one, to ask somebody to get him the key to the batter's box. Could you imagine that? Could you just imagine that? Unbelievable. 216-575-0403. Umpires and referees making some news here in the last couple of days. We all remember the Saints-Rams no call, which cost the Saints a game, probably. Well, today the Atlantic League opens up play, and they're going to be integrating robo-umps. Can you believe that? And also in January, the NFL in January 28th, 2019, the NFL admits that blown call in that NFC title game really cost them the game. Then April 11th, the MLB announces the experiment, the robot umpires. April 25th, NHL, that's just today. NHL officials admit error in assessing a major penalty during Game 7 of the Sharks Golden Knights series. Turned out to be a change. It was 3-0 at the time when they made that call. And today, the Atlantic League will begin. Today, no date has been announced for the first robot game, but they will have them. I have a question because there's so many questions about this robot umpire and all. What are they going to do about checked swings?
Good question. I don't know. I don't even know what it's going to look like. I always thought they would use lasers eventually.
Well, what would be the guarantee that the lasers are placed in the right place You got maybe a 5'10" guy, then you got a 6'4" guy. If you're an inch or two off, that changes the whole thing.
That's true, and I want to go back, Les, to the Sharks and the Golden Knights. I was watching that game. By the way, April, May, and part of June, you talk about great theater with the NHL playoffs and the NBA playoffs going at the same time. It's a dream because every night you got something going on.
Hockey, you don't even have to know hockey to understand how great that is.
Right, and I don't know hockey, and I love the Stanley Cup playoffs, but you had this game, Game 7, Sharks and Knights, and the Knights are in total control. You get the cross-check, the guy loses his balance off the cross-check, and then he gets hit again, which kind of made it look worse.
And they couldn't go to replay by rule.
No, that's a judgment call. And then next thing, it's a 5-minute major, which means as long as it's a major, you can score as much as you want. It's not one goal and the end of the power play.
For people who don't know, if you have a guy in the penalty box and the other team scores a goal, the penalty's over. You bring him out. But if it's a major, like you suggest, you're there for 5 minutes. Whether you
score as much as you can, and guess what?
The
Sharks scored not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 goals in the 5-minute span to take a 4-3 lead. Knights tie it. Final minute of regulation. Sharks win it. They're on to the second round.
How do you
Knights
think the
home.
sports books in L.A. took that
apology
result?
I mean,
hey, thanks for the apology.
My bad. But
you can bring those tickets back. We'll cash them in.
I mean, it's the human element, though. I mean, I don't envy hockey officials. I mean, all the stuff they have to do.
No, you talk about the NBA. This is tough.
Oh my goodness! And you've got to stay out of the way of these guys, and that's a huge challenge. And the puck.
And skate backwards.
And you got to call penalties and figure out who's where. I mean, it's crazy.
Do you think Cleveland could ever support a hockey team, NHL hockey team, at this point?
Well, I don't know that it has a choice, Les. And I've never, because I used to write about the Barons and the Monsters even going, I mean, the Lumberjacks going way back, the Barons, and then, of course, the Lake Erie Monsters, now the Cleveland Monsters. And it was my understanding, and I never was able to lock this down for sure. It was my understanding that when Columbus became an NFL franchise, that part of the agreement was there would not be an NHL franchise in Cleveland.
Right, because Detroit is there, Pittsburgh is there,
and they don't,
and Columbus.
They didn't want two teams in such locale, so close to each other, and oh, by the way, it's NHL. So that's what I thought was the understanding, was that once Columbus got a team in the NHL, Cleveland was not going to. Can Cleveland support a fourth major? I doubt it, given the population decreases and whatnot. It's just there's just not enough people in the region to support 4 majors, I think.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Having said that, the ardent hockey fan was like, well, look at the support we give the Monsters here in this town, but it's a different level of hockey, obviously. Monsters being the feeder for the Blue Jackets, the AHL affiliate, and the costs are less. And
I never got the sense that fans who came to the game were there for any other reason than to just be entertained. They didn't care if the team won. They didn't care. They didn't do scoreboard watching. It wasn't a. I don't think they, for a variety of reasons.
You mean going to the Monsters games?
Yeah, I mean people love it, but I don't know that there's a reason for standings and playing opponents like that?
Well, I'll listen to that, although I was writing game stories about the Monsters for years because my boss felt like it was something that needed to be done, and I did my best. I was more fact-oriented. I told you exactly what happened, what I saw, but I did not get into the nuances because to me, hockey is a game that you almost have to know. It has to be inbred in you,
right.
You know? And I just didn't understand the nuances of the game no matter how much I watched it.
You can spend Kentucky Derby Day next Saturday, May 4th at Northfield Park. You can watch and wager on the top thoroughbreds as they compete in the $2 million Run for the Roses. The 9th annual Northfield Park Food Truck Festival kicks off at noon, goes till 7 p.m. Enjoy the live music from 1 until 10 p.m. You could also win $100 win bets on the Kentucky Derby, gift cards, concert tickets, grand prize of $2,500. Doors open at 9:30 a.m. Live racing begins at 6 p.m., all at Northfield Park. Each week, the Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes students who are role models from across the state of Ohio. This week, we head to Brunswick High School to meet Caitlin Hollop. Caitlin excels in tennis and in the classroom as well. The Ohio Lottery proud to salute Caitlin Hollop, this week's Shining Star.
Caitlin Hollop juggles a lot of things, but she is honored to be a shining star for doing it.
It means a lot. I just put a lot of effort into like sports and school both, so it's just like good that it's shown.
Hollop went out for the Brunswick tennis team 2 years ago as a freshman, and her background in dance came in handy.
She was involved in some dance, and that really helped me along because I said, wow, hand-eye coordination is gonna be there. Her footwork is gonna be there right away. So when she got on the court, very natural, very fluid.
Caitlin is now a leader for the Blue Devils, even though she's just a junior.
She kind of is a great role model for the younger kids in watching her at practice and working, on her different hits and things of that nature.
But she's even more impressive in school. Hollop is a 4.0 student who is taking honors classes and already earning college credit too.
I'm getting things done earlier, so I don't have to worry about as much as in college. Since these college classes are going to transfer, I don't have to worry about like those basic classes anymore.
She is self-motivated, she is determined, she does things for the sake of learning, not for the sake of points. She's a fantastic student.
And she's happy to give back to her community. Caitlin tutors her brother and her friends, mostly in math, which is her favorite subject. And she volunteers at the library and other school events. Brunswick is lucky to have student athletes like Caitlin Hollop.
It's a good feeling helping others in the community and just like coming together as a community to volunteer.
For her to be a shining star and to be honored like this, it's obviously great for the program, great for Brunswick, but more happy for her and her family.
Yeah.
If you know a student deserving of recognition, visit OhioLottery.com, go to the About section, find the tab that's marked Supporting Education to nominate him or her as an academic all-star. He or she could end up as one of our shining stars from the Ohio Lottery. Thanks to Doug LeMaurice earlier tonight. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/moresports and Les Levine with new content posted each and every day. We had Doug LeMaurice before. We've got D-Man, who's been with us all night.
I'm going to ask a question you asked or alluded to earlier, Les.
Okay.
Given 3 choices for you tonight, how are you prioritizing? The NFL draft, Blue Jackets, Bruins game 1, Indians, Astros.
Well,
if you have to choose to rank them by priority.
NBA would be the bottom choice for me.
Okay.
I don't know if it's because the Cavaliers aren't involved this year or LeBron James isn't involved at all. I wonder if I would want to watch more games if he was, for positive or negative reasons. I'm going to watch the draft, go in and out of that to the Indians game. But Indians and Blue Jackets about even.
Agreed. The draft is made to go in and out of.
Yes.
Because you identify where your team is, unless you're a complete draft Nick and you want to know every move and every trade of every team. But, I'm thinking I'm going to be flipping back and forth. Now I'm thinking start times. Well,
7 o'clock hockey.
Bruins Jackets start at 7, Indians Astros at 8, so that helps.
And 8 is the draft, NFL draft.
And 8 is the NFL draft. So
you can't miss Roger Goodell getting booed. I mean, that's mandatory must-see TV.
Roger.
I wonder, though, for 20 years now, 19 years, the draft day has been such a big thing for Cleveland because they've been so horrible and couldn't put two good years together. I just wonder if this is the beginning of the end of that, where we have so many mock drafts on radio and newspaper, and It's a different way that Cleveland Browns fans are approaching this NFL draft. I don't even remember how we did it in the Belichick years and Schottenheimer years.
Right. And I sure hope it's the end of it. But, Les, I hope we never see again a number 1 overall pick, let alone number 1 overall, number 4 overall.
Right.
I mean, it's bound to happen, I suppose, but I hope it doesn't happen anytime soon.
I'm hearing talk today about all of a sudden it seems a backup or third-string quarterback has become something important. Do you see it that important? I mean, Stanton's clearly your second option.
Right, and I don't buy the idea that you bring in a Josh Rosen. I don't think the fit makes any sense. Rosen thinks he's a number 1, and he's too close in age to Mayfield.
Well, he's also a drop-back stand-up passer.
Yeah, but if you're going to bring a Rosen in, if you're going to trade for him, let's say that the Cardinals do draft Kyler Murray and they want to move Rosen. It could happen while we're on the air still. It could happen in an hour from now. But the Browns, it's not a fit. Maybe an older quarterback, high 30s, something.
Did you like Rosen last year when he was up for the draft?
No, I didn't like the attitude. I thought he was way too cocky. No, I'm not going to revisionist history here. I was more like, okay, Allen, Darnold.
Right.
Darnold probably first, Allen second, Mayfield third, Rosen fourth.
Yeah.
That's how I remember ranking
I was Rosen first and Mayfield second.
I wasn't dogging Mayfield, but I wondered, I'll admit, again, this is like a mea culpa, I wondered if there was a little Johnny Manziel there.
Okay, are you convinced now?
Yeah, I mean, they're not even in the same universe. But I wasn't sitting there saying, "Oh, Mayfield is going to be bad." I just wondered, is there some question marks?
Is there any question in your mind now that without an injury that he's the guy for the next 6, 8, 10 years?
There's no question in my mind, given his aptitude, given his skills, his love for the game. Let me say this too: he needs help, as we know. He has help. And if the offensive line keeps him as clean as it kept him the second half of last year, no coincidence, once Kitchens took over, ball's getting out of the hand quicker, more decisive, fewer hits. I think the Browns led the league in fewest QB hits against them in the second half of the year.
And when obviously in the offseason he looked at a ton of film on himself, and he'll understand you got to keep doing that.
Yeah, you'd like to think he's only going to get better. I mean, there will be clunkers. I still want to see him succeed in Pittsburgh because, in my opinion, his worst game by far last year was at Pittsburgh, which was, of course, the last game of Jackson and Haley. But that said, this guy looks the part, and his team undoubtedly believes in him. And his coaching staff. And here's another thing that we don't talk about enough since Kitchens was hired, the continuity part of it.
Even though you have a new head coach,
Baker Mayfield doesn't have to walk into a brand new system. He knows what's going on.
You're absolutely right. All right, thanks to Doug Maurice, thanks to the D-Man, Dennis Manoloff. We'll have Dave Bacon tomorrow night from 6 until 7 Eastern Time. And Andy Baskin of 92.3 The Fan will join us on Monday night, then Bud Shaw back on Tuesday. That'll do it for us. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.